Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Jaltest Marine webinar. In this case, we're going to continue this series of webinars talking about just one brand, in this case, Caterpillar, which is one of the most important brand on the diesel side. After this one, we're going to stop about talking just about a brand. We're going to start to do other things. So enjoy. And that's it. Dealer level diagnostics on Caterpillar with Jaltest Marine. I have divided this in three parts: introduction, Caterpillar, and then additional information. And I'm going to be switching from the PowerPoint to the demonstration software and vice versa. Okay, so first of all, the introduction, who we are, what we're talking about Caterpillar today. So we're the Cojali Group. We're a company, a multinational company based out Spain. We have been in the industry for 3 years so far, in the diagnostics industry, 20 years, 21 years so far. So pretty much since all the systems are electronics, we have these different business lines. I'm going to highlight the most important ones. First of all, JALTEST, that's the diagnostics project, which includes obviously JALTEST Marine. We have other industries as well. I'm going to talk that in a few slides. And then, well, we have JALTEST Telematics and remote diagnostics, something very new. Right now, it's going to be in commercial vehicle, but pretty soon we're going to expand this to other industries. So telematics was already on the market, but remote diagnostics was not, and something like that combined didn't exist. So it's going to be something very, very exciting and very useful. Then we have the Cojali parts. We are manufacturer of all makes parts, and the OEM solutions department, as we are experts and we're leaders in some industries, in some products, business lines, solutions, technologies. We also sell that to other companies, like for example, also OEMs that they trust us, and we develop things under their brands. Also, JALTEST tool, which are all kinds of different testing and checking equipments. All this is possible because we have at the moment, and always increasing this number, more than 700 employees. Most of them are based out of our headquarters in Spain, and most of them are engineers. As we're a company of technology and innovation, obviously, um, the most important part of it is all the engineers that develop all these products. This is our timeline. As I said before, we're from Spain, although we have different companies, independent companies, like the one in the US where we are. And then we have some of commercial offices around the world. Important to highlight the Cojali USA company, and we are here for 11 years so far, and we cover North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. But as the Jaltest Marine product is the same for the rest of the world, this webinar is also useful for anyone. It can be at any place in the world. Okay, so as I said before, we're pretty much everywhere thanks to having distributors that represent our solution, our software, our tools, and that's we can be pretty much everywhere. So if you're in our region, we take care of the customer support. We take care of distributing all the products, to our clients, our distributors, but then they're the ones distributing to the end customers. But we work as a team, and obviously focusing on having the best support for our customers. Okay, so let's get straight to the point. Jaltest Diagnostics, that's why we're here, in this case, about Caterpillar. So as I said before, we have different industries. We are actually specialized on diesels. We're specialized in brands like Caterpillar. We come from the commercial vehicle side. We had so much success that we have diversified into other industries, such as ag, off-highway, material handling equipment, and marine. Okay, so as you can see, we're specializing in diesel, something very important for all our marine users, because you can find some all makes tools, especially on the gasoline side, especially on the American brand side, but not for the rest of them. Okay, so what is Jaltest Marine? Jaltest Marine is an all makes, all models, all systems diagnostics tool. It's not just the engine. It's true that in the marine industry, most of our brands and models, they only have with electronic control modules the engine, but we can have some peripheral systems, and we are going to see that. Okay, so for example, in all the brands, you can have the levers and all the digital throttle and shift. You can have the cruise control, etc., etc. In the case of Caterpillar, if we go to the stationary engine side, you can have the after treatment systems. You can have also the electric power generation system. We always say that we offer a global solution for all nautical workshop because it's not just diagnostics, it's much more with all the extra features. Okay, so we have technical information within the software. So we outperform, I would say, pretty much all OEM tools because they don't have technical information inside the software. So you will be able to access all your wind diagrams, technical information, troubleshooting guides, etc., on the same platform. A management tool, I would say that we're the only omics or even the diagnostics tool in the world that provides this. You're able to connect on the network, you have a cloud sharing network, all your devices, all your JALTEST tools. You can create all your customer list, vessel list, assign work orders, access all your reports, and then very important support. Okay, so we can do this in different languages depending on where you are. We can even do remote assistance. We have 4 different models: inboard, outboard, jet skis, or watercrafts, and stationary engines. In this case, Caterpillar is through inboard and through stationary engines. Let's get started with Caterpillar. As I said before, we're going to talk, obviously, even we're Jaltest Marine, vessel, boats, of course, but stationary engines, it's part of the Jaltest Marine solution, and it's being used by our users. Obviously, we have to talk about stationary engines as well. So let's get started with inboards, diesels, obviously, so diesels, world leaders, one of the world leaders, not only in marine. What can we say about Caterpillar? Is a huge company, fantastic company. Levers and instrumentation. We have, they're plug and play. They're even electronic, but they don't have any diagnostics. Okay, but just to highlight that you can find Caterpillar plug and play levers and instrumentations as well. All their engines are manufactured by them. The ECMs are manufactured by them, and we have 2 types of technology. We have the 3000 technologies, which are the older models. They're not manufactured anymore. And then we have the C series, which are newer models. Okay, we can have 2 types of communication protocols with the engine, 1708 and CDL. CDL is the Caterpillar Communication Protocol, where we'll find more functionalities. Okay, it's true that you can find some peripheral systems where you can find other types of like the J1939, but on the engine side, at least on the inboard side, it's 1708 for the older ones, and then CDL. Okay, here very important, the 2 last digits are the cylinders. Same thing with the C series, it would be the cylinders, the numbers that we'll find. Okay, in last, the injection systems, EUI, HEUI, and Comarel injection systems. Here with the ECMs, these are just 3 examples. You can find different type of ECMs, again, all manufactured by Caterpillar. As I said before, 1708 CDL, at least for the engine, and we can have that cable, that's Caterpillar cable. It's 9-pin. Don't get confused with the GHG17, the one like, for example, Cummins uses. That's also 9-pin. Okay, here the difference, you can see that compared to the GH17, it's being switched. Okay, so for example, if here we can have B ground, well, the Cummins cable, the B will be positive, and same thing for A. We have A, which is positive. With Cummins, it's going to be ground. Okay, additional information, the Caterpillar prefix. That's not just for inboard, also for stationary engines in general. For Caterpillar, we have to see the 3 first digits. Okay, so this is important when we want to retrieve For example, technical information or wiring diagrams, we have to check this with our engine plate to identify the correct models. Here we can find two things. Either we can have one CAN bus or different CAN bus. You can have obviously each engine their own diagnostics board, but they can all be connected on the same CAN bus. So it's very typical that you connect and you have to tell, hey, what is your, if you are in the port, starboard, or central, this are, you will see this like MID 33, 34, 36. More things, injector coding. Don't worry, Jaltest Marine will know what you need, either if it's a trim file or a 4 or 6 digit code. Jaltest will tell you what exactly you need, okay? What is coming soon? We have on the big engines and high seas engines, the ECM backup, which communicates through the MID 47, and then the control bridge models, which these ones communicate through J1939. Okay, so now I'm going to do the demonstration with a C12 system. Okay, let's get to the software. I will click here into Inboard, and very simple. Well, just show this. We can have 4 different models: inboards, outboards. Just very quick, we have 29 brands so far, diesel and gasoline. Here we have the outboards. This is purely gasoline. Then we have jet skis, which obviously is gasoline. And then we have the stationary engines model, which all is diesels. Okay, we have 24 different brands. So inboard, Caterpillar. Here we have all the families. Right now, C12. We click here, and very simple. If we want to connect, you have the help button connector symbol. You can click here, and we're going to show you where you can find the cable, the connection port. Here you can see it. You can have a bigger image, the pinout detail, and also the cables you need. Okay, so as I said before, we have the JDC 505A. If you are a user with the previous link interface, the blue box, you can also use the JDC 607 M or M. Yeah, that's it. It's only M. Okay, but from now on, and with the black and white box, it's always a 505A. You don't have the direct connector. Do not worry. You can still use the multi-pins. We have a vlog showing you how to use it. Very simple. We tell you exactly the pins, the pinouts, D and E. Okay, then B and D is going to be yellow and green, and then we have to use 2 JTP3. We have 10 pair of pins depending on the connector you're using. Okay, so very simple. You don't have the connector, it phone to the wire, it's broken, you can still get the job done, and you have to follow the rules, the instructions. You need to provide the power supply. We have a cable, you can connect it to the battery, and then you can have to connect it here to this side of the cable. Okay, let's get started. Let's click into connect, and we're gonna get inside. First thing we do, diagnostics menu, all the functionalities. Then we're gonna explain all the technical information. As you can see, it's within the software. It's gonna help us a lot, and we're gonna do things as soon as possible. And we're gonna have access to this because although you're a dealer and you have a different platform to access this, you can lose some time if you don't have all this within the software. First of all, read fault codes. You will see here first the status of the code: red active fault code, gray non-active fault codes. You have all the codes we have. We can read obviously proprietary fault codes, how many times we have that situation, and then the description. Okay, most of the tools stop here, and again, as we have all the technical information here, we're able to give you a guided diagnostics with more information. Okay, so this is obviously is related to the diagnostics. Okay, so freeze frame data, when it happened for the last time, priority, etc. And here, help and component of the fault. This is possible because we have it inside the software. I'm going to repeat this a lot. You have the component related to the full code, the coolant temperature sensor, and now we can click see information about the component, and voila, we have the component image, we have the location, we also have operational values. In this case, we have the tiny torque for that sensor. Okay, what else? In the last part of that guided diagnostics I lead on the reading full code side is the wiring diagrams. Okay, so we will be able to know how that sensor and all the components are connected to the ECM. Okay, with the pinout and everything, you don't need to have an IT full code. You can just pull up the component list. Okay, and you can access all these. We have search engines everywhere, so you can just try to look anything. Okay, as you can see, we have the tension, we have the communication. For example, this case is socket X2 and pin 32. So it's very simple. We double click, you have access to this. You have an image of the ECM. I think we're in X2. So I think we're in the pin 39. So it's very simple. This is 1, this is 13. So 39 will be somewhere around here. Okay, so it's very simple to identify. You don't have to call somebody else, get into Google. Everything's inside the software, and you don't need internet access to access the wiring diagrams and to perform all your diagnostics. Okay, here's the same structure. We can go to another model, we can go to another engine, another brand, another type of system. Same thing. It's the JALTEST structure. Left and right we have the components, and in the middle we have the ECM. Okay, let's get back to the diagnostics menu. Okay, and what else? We can clear full codes. Obviously we had that option here as well. You had a trash sign, you can just click it and that's it. System data, you can see first ECU data, what it has been registered by the manufacturer. Okay, serial number, software, etc., etc. What else? We have the ECM ratings. Okay, we have more information here, like total time of use, like operation data, and idle time, total fuel used. Well, etc. Operation hours, total engine revolutions. All this is super useful when we perform our scan. Also for surveyors, we have a lot of surveyors that use our tool. Whenever you're doing anything for, I don't know, insurance or brokerage, you need to access this information to give it to your customer. What else? More information, histograms, engine coolant temperature, inlet pressure, engine speed, etc., etc. Okay, so all this is part of the operation data. Okay, let's get back to the diagnostics menu. Live data. Okay, we have two options. For first is system display. This it's especially useful for those technicians that are not too versed on a particular brand and model. You can see this with all your components, if it's going in, it's going out, but you can still check all those measurements and many more here through live data selection. Okay, we have three types of ways that we can see this. Okay, we have different groups. You can select anything. Okay, I'm just going to select pressure and temperature, and gonna do, for example, for if I want to check if the system is refrigerated correctly, you can check some measurements. You can always use the engine search engine, for example, engine speed, engine coolant temperature, and for example, and all the measurements related to oil, like engine oil pressure, transmission oil pressure, pressure indicator, oil low pressure. Okay, we have three options. First of it is the numeric value. This is how it's been recorded or saved in the diagnostics report. Everything is being recorded, anything we're doing, and then everything is accessible through the GRP, which is the management tool. Option 2, you have all your gauges. Okay, and then you have your graphics. Okay, you can have more than one graphic. You can just unselect and select. You can increase or decrease the image, go back and forth, etc. You can even record this or save it as a screenshot. I'm going to show you afterward if you want to do a C-trail how you can do it if you want to record everything in live, because we can do it with the data recorded. So here, if you want to save the screenshot of the graphics, just click into the camera option, including diagnosis report, and that's it. You can just go back, click the preview of the diagnosis report, and that's it. Okay, you can put the logo of your company here, the information of your company. You have here date, time, user. As I said before, you can save these under a specific customer, under a specific vessel. Everything you have been doing, like reading flow codes. We haven't done much so far, but reading flow codes, the operation data, system data, live data. Okay, live measurements, you can record everything, even performing screenshots. So it's very valuable to have all your diagnosis report. You can add a lot of value when you want to charge your customers. Hey, I charge you this, but look what I have done. You can keep a record of everything that I have done, or you can check all the history of all your customers. You have a customer coming back in 6 months, you know what happened. You're not going to remember what you did yesterday. Imagine, every day since you're using the Jaltest solution. Okay, you can even use this as an invoice, add your comments afterwards, put your hours, price per hours, etc., etc. Every time you see a plus sign, you can create your groups, because for example, in this case, if you want to check all these measurements, you can do your test and you can record it. So the next time you don't have to select all your measurements. And if you're working inside the network, even if you're in different computers, anyone accessing an inboard engine that's Caterpillar as a C12, they will see the all those measurements that you have saved, so you can save some time afterwards. Okay, so let's get into parameters. We have, for example, first engine control, then we'll see the injectors, like for the injectors coding. For example, oil capacity in the crankcase. As you may know, the crankcase will have the shape of the boat hull, so you have more or less capacity. You can program this. You can even use the technical information, which again is not diagnostics, but it's super important for our repair and maintenance. And you can access information also about liquid capacity and quality engine oil. I'm just gonna use this 7.5 gallons. You can just check. Yeah, you can put your new oil capacity, and that's it. It has been recorded and finished. It's then being written on your ECM, and then you will have in your diagnosis report the previous oil capacity and the new one, when you did it, who did it, for what vessel, for what client. Okay. What else you can do? Number of engines. You can have different type of engines, or you can add engines afterwards. Very simple. You just click next. You put the engines you have, and the parameter setting process has finished. So you can see it's very intuitive, very easy to use, and it's very simple. Jaltest is simplicity. This that I'm selecting is the extra mode code. Okay, it's totally free. You can request it from your customer area. The thing here is, depending on the customers, they can have technicians that are not allowed to perform advanced functionalities, such as the ones that are required to write on the ECM. So you can just give the code to whoever you want, so you can have control of the use of your tool. Okay, and anyway, I insist, is totally free. Okay, so engine location, same thing. You can select if it's port, starboard, in this case, because we have two engines as I have selected before. So as you can see, Jaltest is not only a tool for the repair process, but also for the configuration of your vessel. Okay, you have other functionalities here in this case, like idle speed, transmission oil temperature, transmission oil pressure. Okay, injector coding, obviously, I'm going to click here. Obviously, expert mode code is an advanced functionality. Step one, every time you're going to do something, we're going to tell you what you're about to do. You can always customize your own information because you have that blue plus sign. We can click check. Now we have step two. You have all the different cylinders, injectors, and their codes, and then you can just select whatever you want. And depending of if you need the trim file coding or add your codes, we're gonna tell you if you need, hey, you need 4-digit code, you need a 6-digit code. In the trim files, Jaltest is gonna identify what you need for your type of engine. Okay. Let's get back. System checks. Okay. We can perform functionalities. And therefore we can save everything is working right. Sometimes to give, we will have the result, we can save we have a problem even if it's purely mechanical. Okay, we can perform a cylinder cutout, we can perform an injector bus test. Okay, again, step one, what we're about to do. In this test, all the solenoid valves of the injectors are automatically energized. If they work properly, a series of clicks must be heard during its execution. It is useful for solving problems in the wirings or the solenoid valves. The results will be displayed after the test. So as you can see, everything is explained. We even tell you where is the flywheel, so you can know and identify the results and if you're in the correct injector. Okay, so this is a step one, as we did before on the injector coding. This is step two, initial conditions. The engine must be stopped. We need to meet it in order to be able to perform the functionality. Then you can just select your injector. You will see and you will hear the noise, okay, and then you will identify if everything's working correctly or not. Okay. Okay, so pretty much, well, let me finish with the data recorder. Okay, so as I said before, you can perform, for example, a C trail. You can select up to 24 measurements. You can record up to 30 minutes in each session. Okay, so I'm just gonna select, there's two things. I'm gonna click check and I'm gonna start recording. Okay, so you can be by yourself. You don't need a second technician over there or another one, or well, you can go by two. But again, so the thing is, you will be able to record everything, go back to your shop, click play, and know exactly what happened, when, and how the measurements were at that specific time. Okay, so this is super useful for surveyors. Okay, to then have a record of everything of the customers, or you can have some codes that you don't know when they're getting active or not. You can just force the vessel. You can select the measurement that you think that can give you that information that's useful. Go back and that's it. You can even add some notes like here, and then you will be able to go directly to that specific moment. Again, check your codes and everything. If you want to retrieve this information with an Excel sheet, because if you're using the software, here you come and you click play and you will know exactly, hey, in minute 5, second 20, we have the codes. You have all your organic diagnostics that are related. You have your system data, you have all your measurements. But if you want to have all those measurements, in this case, you have 2 columns and a bunch of measurements, everything you had, if they're changing, you have to save, it's mandatory, the diagnostics report of the same session. Okay, so it's two things, the session, like the data recording session, and then you have to record the diagnostics report from the same session. So then you can go to your management tool, the GRP, you can just access your report and export everything on an Excel sheet. Okay, so I will click finish, and then I'm gonna explain or show you the technical information. Okay, so first, system technical data. You have general, like tiny torques of different sensors. In this case, you have to apply force. You have your components, where we're taking all those images, locations, everything that we're showing in your guided diagnostics. Those components related to the fault code, or if you access your wiring diagrams and you retrieve a component from here. Okay, so that's why it's so important to have everything inside within the software. Okay, diagrams, I showed that already. Maintenance data, so this is the other type of report that we can generate. We had the diagnostics report, and then we have our maintenance report. All this is taken from the official manuals, obviously. Okay, and for example, after 1 year, you have different um, groups, cooling system, check the cooling fluid level, engine compartment, you have change engine oil, check injectors, etc., etc. You can even click into the eye to see the technical data related, okay, to that task, and you can create your report. It's pretty similar on the other one. You put the logo of your company, information about your company, user, date, time, customer, everything, and all the tasks you have to perform, and then you will save all that on your management tool, and you can save it at no extra charge in the cloud. Okay, so you will never lose that information. Your computer gets broken, stolen, wherever, do not worry. You can install the software in another computer, and then you will retrieve all the information. Technical data. Okay? I accessed this menu before to show you the liquid capacity. Okay, liquid capacity and quality. We have more information like specifications, engine distribution, fuel system, lubrication, cooling system. And what I would think is the most important part, the tiny torques. You have the crankshaft, you have the connecting rod, cylinder head, you have here the image, you have the exact orders, and you have the different stages, either if you have to apply force or angle. Okay, we tell you exactly what to do. This is not diagnostics, but it's part of the repairing process. That's why it's so important for us to include all that within the software. That's why um, we play in another league, I could say. Okay, so besides all this, you have also the adjustments and tolerance, 5 adjustments. Troubleshooting, okay, so troubleshooting by symptoms. Just to let you know, I didn't say it before, the webinar is going to be like 1 hour long. We have done already 30 minutes. If you have questions, I will check it out in the chat and I will answer everything once we're done, okay? So do not worry about it. Anyway, we're gonna upload the video into our social media channels, especially on YouTube, okay? So troubleshooting, we have 2 types of troubleshooting, guys. One is by fault code, other is by symptoms. You can see the different situations and you can expand all the possible solutions. Okay, so again, symptoms is more a general aspects, something that can be related only to mechanical situations. Okay, you don't have any focus related, and again, you see here the blue plus sign. That means that you can even customize your troubleshooting guides, and anyone inside your network will access all that. As you can see, I'm logged in with my user ID, with my user type, and anyone in my network, my company, can access the information I'm generating, and they can see what I'm generating as well. We have different levels of user types, so if depending on the user type, you have more or less access to different functionalities and on the diagnostic side, but also on the management tool side. Okay, releases and procedures. Okay, so those are technical releases, very important. There's some things that in some cases, other brands or models, we have to perform them manually. In other cases, here, if you need to identify, as I said before, if we are communicating through the same CAN bus, depending on the engine, you have to tell, hey, are you communicating through mid 33, 34, 36? Okay. Okay, so we're done with this. I'm going to exit. Do you wish to save the report? Because it will ask you when you exit the ECM if you want to save it. If you want to save it under a specific customer vessel, if you want to add your comments, your diagnostics prices and everything. I'm not gonna add anything else. And now it tells you obviously you want to synchronize the information. Why? Because as everything is being saved at no extra charge in our cloud, you will have to synchronize at some point. Okay, what happens if you don't have internet at that moment? Do not worry, it's going to be saved locally, but then when you have internet access, it will ask you to synchronize. You just click yes, and that's it, okay? So let me access the GRP. This is the Garage Resource Planning tool. We have here the management tool. As said before, we have different options. It's simple, but it's super useful, okay? Because for example, here we can create or the complete list of our customers here without any problem. You can access the name of the company, address, tax ID, email, all the vessels that are part of that company, contact details if we add them, okay, everything. Vessel list or vehicle list, as you can combine marine with other projects like I don't know, highway, commercial vehicle, ag, material handling equipment. You will see the type of model and you see the information of your vessels and they're part of a specific customer or not, and you can add all this information. Reports, I show you the diagnostics reports and the maintenance report. So from here, we can access all that. So why is it so important to customize the customer list, vessel list? Because after, you know, 1 year, even 6 months, or the time, it will depend on the customer. You have a lot of reports. If you're not able to filter by customer, by type of vessel, serial number, vessel plate, or vessel name, you will lose time, okay? So here, reports, then we have maintenance reports, okay? So the second report that it showed you, and then we have work order reports, okay? This is the third report, as we can assign work orders whenever they're done by the technician. The administrator can confirm that it's done, and you can create a report. This is just an example that I made up. You will see again, user, date, time, customer, vessel, the task that you have created, and if you want to add the cost, you can do that as well, okay? Human resources, we have 5 types of user types. We have the administrator, the service manager, reception, shop foreman, and technician, okay? So depending on the type of user, you will have more or less access to these menus, okay? And you will have more or less rights and also restrictions, okay? So for example, some of those user types, if you log in, you don't have the XML code right away. Others, like for example, the administrator and other ones, you can just log in and you will have your XML code right away, okay? Reception, we can create reception forms because you saw before that we have a reception user type. You can have a company with your technician at the shop. You can have your reception person, and then you have somebody at the office. You can install the software in those 3 computers, and then the technician is involved only on the shop, okay? But will access all the reports, everything that technician is generating. Then somebody at reception can add all those forms, okay, that will be accessible through the work order management. So then whoever has access to this can assign those work orders. You can assign different tasks. You can also then retrieve workshop time reports by user or by vessel, okay? And tool use history. Only the administrator will know who is using the tool, when, time and date, and for what type of brand and model, okay? And then my task, whatever has been assigned to myself, and we can click play and control all the time that we're spending, okay? Then last but not least, we have the customer support, very important. We can be contacted by phone, by email. We can also do remote assistance. Our guys in customer support can remote in and help you out on the process, okay? Let's get back to the presentation. Now we will start with the stationary engine, okay? They're diesel mostly. They have some gas, natural gas engines, okay? First of all, introduction. It's always important to highlight that what we'll have inside the software is the engine, okay? You can have manufacturer of genset compressors that they don't manufacture the engine. They buy it from other OEM manufacturers like CAT, That's like I said before, so it's important to identify what's inside. So you can have genset that has a specific brand, but inside is a Caterpillar. You need to identify that what you have is a Caterpillar and find the specific model. That's very important. Okay, genset, compressor, hydraulic pumps, whatever, water pumps, whatever that has a stationary engine inside. Okay. Other engines and ECMs are manufactured by COD, and then mostly diesel. Perkins, it's part of the group. It's very similar. And actually, some engines are similar, but the software is different. Okay. Okay. So then we have here some additional information. We have the CDL with the older engines. Okay. So what happened here? Here now we have the J1939 on the engine. So the newer engines with your particle filter, AdBlue, in general, all your after treatment systems, it communicates through J1939. Okay, so the older engines are communicating through the CDL. Okay. Same thing here, we have the 3000 technology. The two last digits are the number of cylinders. Same thing here, engine capacity, if it's 1.5 liters or 1500 cubic centimeters. And the C's are usually common rail, okay, the C series, okay? You can have some peripheral systems such as the SCR and ARD. Same thing with the electronic power generation, okay? But at least on the after treatment side, you can find all the things. On the bigger engines, 7.1 and bigger, the region is being performed through the ARD, and it can be controlled by the engine ECM or the ARD. Okay, if the SCR is there, it's controlled by the ARD. Okay, so if the region is managed by the engine ECM, we just have that ECM as the only one controlling the ARD. That's important to know. What else? Even though it's manufactured by Caterpillar, they can purchase the engine block if for the smaller engines. That's just a curiosity. So, for example, you can have Iveco on the 4.4, 6.6, Kubota on the 3.3B, etc. Okay. As I said before, the engine is similar, and some of the models Caterpillar versus Perkins, but the software is different. Okay, so for example, 3.3 is like the 400 series of Perkins, 4.4 like the 800s, 6.6 like the 1200s. Okay. Okay, so after treatment regulation, unfortunately, we still don't have this on the inboard side. So it only applies to stationary, maximum limit combustion, gases emission. You know that we started in tier 1, now we are in tier 5. So just to make some differentiation, tier 1 is normally engines without ECM. Tier 2 is normally with the 3000 technology. Tier 3, it communicates through the CDL communication protocol. And then from interim tier 4 to tier 5, okay, you have obviously final tier 4 inside. They communicate through J1939. You can usually start to see, well, actually, no, that's where you see all your ARD and SCR, and depending on the norm they're meeting, you will see that's an interim tier 4 or final tier 4 or tier 5. Okay. Also very important. Okay, so I mentioned the CDL J1939. Okay, that's how the engine are communicating. But what happens if we have different ECMs on the machine? Okay, the ECM can communicate also through CDL, even though the engine goes through 1939, because they have to communicate with other ECMs that might only communicate through CDL. Okay, so that's important. Some example again, types of ECMs all manufactured by CAT, and you have here two type of connectors. The most used one is the 9-pin Caterpillar cable, which is the JDC 505 or the JDC 607, but you can find for the newer ones the JDC 533. Okay, those are the part numbers inside Jaltest Marine project. Okay, so let's get started with the demo. Okay, I'm gonna switch again into the software. Click stationary engines. We have 24 different brands. We have Caterpillar. I'm gonna do the example with a 4.4, which is a well-known engine. Click C 4.4. You can select depending on what you have, if it's J1939 or CDL. Anyway, I always suggest to choose the system scan because you will exactly know what's available within that diagnostics board. Okay, as you can see, we have the electric power generation and the SCR for the exhaust gas treatment system. Okay, let's start with the electric power generation. It's always good to highlight that it's not the stationary engines we are adding, and on Caterpillar, I think it's pretty much on all the models with electric power generation, ECMs. You can perform your fault codes. You can access all your fault codes, live data, access your parameters, and do your data recorder as well. You can check the SCR. You can connect. Same thing, diagnostics menu, we're in a different system, but we're connected with the same connector. Read fault codes, okay. I have all explained all this, codes, description, etc. System data, which is the ECU data, what it has been registered by the manufacturer. You have your live data. We have shown that already with the inboard example. Same thing with the data recorder. And then system checks, we have different ones all related to the SCR, like verification test of the AdBlue, AdBlue System Purg, accuracy test of the AdBlue metering system, AdBlue Dev System heaters. Okay, let's do an example with the AdBlue System Purg. Step one, again, we're telling what we're about to do. Very simple. We just need to read it. The goal of this test is to drain the AdBlue Dev system. If the system has not been drained during the last engine stop, during a normal performance, the AdBlue system is drained each time the engine stop. That some of the function have priority over the AdBlue draining, and there is a delay in the operation. This happens after making many short stops. During the process, the operating of the AdBlue pump can be heard. If not, check for failure in the system, important, etc., etc. So as you can see, everything is explained. You have additional doubts, get in contact with us. You can ask our professionals on the customer support side, and we'll help you get through the problem. Okay, so this is a step one. We click check. We have step two, same thing as before. Initial conditions, we need to meet all those requirements. Okay, you click check, and the process starts. Okay, tells you when it has been finished. You can display the results. You can click no, but still you will have them under the diagnostics report document. Okay. Okay, we're done with the SCR. You can just disconnect. You can click into the engine. Same process. You can connect. If you have two type of connectors, very important, you have to select the correct one. Diagnostics menu, you have all your fault codes, readings, system data, monitoring. I don't want to repeat again things I've shown before, but it's the same thing. Active components. Now you have all the types of actuations compared to inboard engines, EGR valve, injection shutoff, AdBlue depth metering model, etc., etc. You can click into system checks, cylinder cutouts, injector bus test as before, operation of the exhaust gas after treatment system, coolant system, etc., etc. So it's the same process, same thing, parameters. We have the injector coding, injector exchange, maintenance task. You can perform a region, okay? Very important. HTML code, obviously, we're performing an advanced functionality. Step one, what we're about to do, as you can see, is the same structure. Click check. We have step two, which are the initial conditions, and we'll start the process, okay? When we click check, We just need to follow all the rules so we do everything correctly. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna wait for what our region is, but again, it's very easy to perform. You're guided and all time. Then you will display the results and everything. You will find them inside the diagnostics report. Okay. Well, calibration, high pressure pump, and that's it. So pretty much as you can see, this is the same structure. If you go to another type of brand model system, it's the same way of using the tool. So after you have solved 3-4 situations, you will be very comfortable in having more works to do with other brands that usually you are not specialized. Okay. Okay. So additional information. Jaltest Marine numbers. Right now we have 73 brands. We have over 1,300 models, over 3,700 systems. Wiring diagrams pretty much in most of the systems, troubleshooting by symptoms. We are very constant and very strict with this. We have updates every 4 months. Okay, so expect growth, expect new brands, new models, new systems, new wiring diagrams. So it's in constant evolution. You compare, we always say, you compare this to what we have last year, 2 years ago. The difference is huge. Imagine what will be the software in 1 year. So you are joining a project that is in constant evolution. We have been in the industry for 21 years so far on the diagnostic side, so it's not a summer love. We're not going to abandon our customers. We have a pretty solid business. Actually, as I explained at the beginning, we are expanding in other type of industries, in other type of technologies like telematics and remote diagnostics. So expect growth. You are with a very serious company. This is the equipment. You will find normally 3 parts, maybe sometimes more with the optional products, but you have your hard case where you will have your link interface, um, a 2.5 meter long extension cable, your multi-pins. Then you have your software. We have 5 different configurations. I'm just going to explain that. And then you have optional cables because we have almost 60 different cables. So, each customers use different things. They have different needs. So that's why we can adapt ourselves to their budget and the type of brands they need at that moment. Okay, but you can anyway buy new things in the future, or you can use for the majority of systems and brands, you can use the multi-pins if you need so. Okay, the computer as well is optional. You don't need to purchase it if you already have one. It's Windows based. So if it's tablet or laptop that's Windows based, you can install Jaltest. Mandatory, you need to have enough hard drive space. Um, if you want to use the Bluetooth communication, because you can do it and not use the USB cable, your device needs to have Bluetooth capabilities, and it will work in any Windows, but we recommend some minimum specs because you are managing a lot of data. Okay, so this is our approach. So instead of having different type of brands, softwares, different expiration dates and all that, it's much better to have just one expiration date, one license, one tool. I highlight that it is mandatory to renew. All the diagnostics functionalities will remain there until the last version paid. Okay. Also highlight you don't always have access to the OEM tool. So going with Jaltest, you have seen is very intuitive, and we try to outperform the OEMs with all those extra features. It's always a very good and a great option to get your job done. What type of vessels we cover? Caterpillar will be more involved on the industrial side, but still, so cover jet skis. We can have jet boats. We can have outboards. We can have inflatable outboards and inboards, inboard stand drives. General inboards with your propellers, racing. Either inboards and outboards. Then on the industrial side, we can have mega yachts because they're big enough to put it in this slide. Cargo ships, stationary engines, tugboats, fishing boats, Coast Guard, military, etc. We have customers in all types, in all those type of vessels. Okay, as I said, we have 5 different configurations. The first one is the full. If you want the stationary engine, you need the full package. Okay, inboard, outboard, jet ski, and stationary engines. Then we have the boat kit, which is inboard plus outboard. Then we have just inboard, just outboard, just jet ski. Okay, how can Jaltest upgrade your business? I see this, I will say, so there's in 2 ways, as the first tool or as a second tool. So the first tool, you don't have another Jaltest, you don't have another diagnostics tool, you can still use Jaltest, okay? You will save time. You won't rely on others. You will save or generate income because you can have your own vessel fleet, or you can be a technician that provides service to others. You will be able to generate income, okay? OEM restrictions, as I said, if you're not a dealer, you won't be able to access to most of the brands. So you have to go with Jaltest Marine. Mobile repair, much better to just go with one tool than go with different ones and not even knowing if you will be able to cover what your customer needs when you travel. If your boats extend the life of your engines or your customers' engines, surveying, I have put this in the 2 sections. We have a lot of surveyors that use our tool. As a second tool, you can already have one because you have another Omex tools, or you are a dealer. You will be able to expand your business. You will cover more brands. You can meet your customer needs because you can be a dealer. You can represent 3 or 4 brands. What happened for that customer that has different brands and you don't cover those brands? They will have to find another dealer or another technician that that is able to cover everything. Okay, so it's important to meet our customer needs. Mobile repair, same thing. Restricted use of the OEM tool because you can be a dealer, but you can have access to only one tool. That happened with some dealers. You need to expand your business and you need another tool. And even if you're a dealer, you don't have access to a second tool or a third tool. You can buy Jaltest. Okay, dealer user experience. You have seen that it's very easy to use, very intuitive. Very simple. It's very attractive to use. All the graphics, all the images, all the information. Again, surveying again, as I said. Potential customers, pretty much anyone involved on the maintenance side. We have customers in all the sections. End users, independent technicians, offshore services, military public. Actually, we have agreements with the military in different countries, including the US, dealers, shipyards, service concession contract companies. And while we're better than the competition, we have highlighted, a lot of key selling points and arguments, but coverage. We have 4 models and 5 different configurations. We're specialized in diesel, especially this for our Caterpillar users and our diesel users. Faster and more stable than our competitors. User friendly. We have a USA based customer support based out of Miami. Our level of expertise and know-how. We have been in the industry for 21 years so far. Constant evolution. The only one-shop solution because of all those extra features that I explained so far, and because of all of this, I believe and we believe, and our customers believe that we compete in another level. Award, always good to highlight, even though it was on the IBEX, that's more focused on the recreational side. We received the innovation awards in the last IBEX. We could go assist before the pandemic. It's always good to have our recognition. And I want to end, of course, with the customer support. I want to highlight this. We're very, very serious about this. You have access to the whole value chain of the company. First, you have our customer support guys in Miami by phone, by email, remote assistance. Sometimes if you need help or we need help with our developing engineers from our headquarters, they remoting, they help us. So the mission is that we get through with our every situation and you can get the job done as soon as possible. Training, okay, our distributors, they do a pretty good job, okay, with this. But anyway, part of this, the Jaltest University, we're releasing e-learning courses. In all the vlogs, we're doing webinars. We have dozens of videos. You can check them in our YouTube channel. A lot of things anyway. You can always contact us, tell us what you believe that could be interesting, and we can create videos and they will be available for anyone. Okay, so thank you very much. to all. If you have any kind of question, you can just, you have your chat here of questions. Anyway, as you always know, you can contact us through our contact details information. Okay, I said before, and that's it. You can just let us know anything you need, phone, email. Just let us know. Okay, so I think we don't have any question. Thank you everyone for being here. We're gonna upload this as we always do to our YouTube channel, and then we're gonna promote them on other social media channels, so you will always have access to all this. If you have questions about this and you didn't have time to ask them, or you just want to ask them directly to us, contact us and we'll be happy to answer you. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and in 1 month and a half more or less we'll have our next Jaltest Marine webinar. Thank you very much.